This next video will tell you how to get started with your learning to solder little LED light PCB. Now PCB stands for printed circuit board, and you'll see on this circuit board we have labels for components that perform a function in the actual circuit board. Another little component here, that's an LED, and these are all resistors. On the other side we have silver sections which will allow us to solder the legs of our components onto this side. If you look really closely, you can see underneath this little solder resist topping here, you can see that there's a little track underneath that runs between the different pads, solder pads, which allow the electricity, the electrons to run from different sections to different sections to allow the circuit to work properly. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a resistor, which is one of these. Now all the resistors in this circuit are the same, so what I'm going to do is I need to put them on the side without the solder pads, and I'm going to bend the legs to make them fit. So I'm going to bend them first. If you pre-bend your components, it then allows you to insert them properly without the legs going wonky and all bendy. Now what we're aiming to do is to get that resistor right up against the board. If it sits proud, it will wiggle around and it will snap off potentially, and other things might touch the legs, so we need it as close to the board as we can. And just to keep it in place, I'm going to very gently bend that leg out just at a slight angle so it doesn't fall through when I have it upside down. That one's moving slightly, see it's just come away, so I'm just going to bend that a little bit more like that. Okay, and then that's now staying in place, and then I'm going to clip that into my little third hand. I'm just going to angle this so you can see it better. And when we solder, the way soldering works is you put a tiny bit of solder on here onto your iron, and then you need to heat up the pad and the leg of the component at the same time with the iron. Now solder flows onto the hot bits of metal, so if you only heat up the leg, it will only stick to the leg. If you only heat up the pad, it will only stick to the pad, so you have to heat up both together. So I'm going to heat them both up now. You add some solder to the iron, and then it will flow and create a little solder joint. So I'll take that out, show you up close. Okay, so it's a little tiny mountain of solder. I'll do the other one so you can see that one now. Iron up against the leg and the pad, add the solder, and you have a solder joint. Now the way we check that they're correct is you just work out, are there any gaps in the holes? Are there any holes left in there? Does it touch the leg properly? Is it a tiny shiny mountain? If it's too much or it's really big and blobby, then it's wrong. We need to make sure it's tidier than that. It might still work, but you just need to make sure that it's done properly. Once you've done the first one, you can then do the other three.